Okay, so what is coding? I'm going to show you some basic philosophy of coding and some quick ways that you can learn how to engage with coding. And because this is a self-directed unit, you need to learn how to teach yourself. And there are lots of different ways you can teach yourself. Something I do use is something called Grok Learning, and I can sign you up for this. In Grok Learning is a range of tutorials that you can do in order to learn different types of coding. So for example, this one is what they call Blocky, but it's very similar to Scratch. I'm just going to show you how it basically works. There's instructions on what to do, more instructions on what to do, and then you have an assessment piece really, where you can then do, okay, it's giving me the instructions, I've got to make a square, so I go to the turtle, if I move the forward 20 steps, but they're telling me that it's got to be 50, so I go here and I go 50. Then it's got to turn left, and then we can move forward, and it's 50. Then we turn left, and then I can do duplicate. That's excellent. Move forward. I'm right clicking and doing duplicate. Turn left. That is my 4 things. Now, code. Move forward 50 steps, then turn left. In Blocky, it's exactly the same in Scratch. You actually then have to have, if this happens, then something happens. Something happens, something happens. So move forward 50 steps. This is a separate command. I can take that out and change it into something else. All right, turn left, it's a drop down. I can make it right. The reason why this is similar to Scratch is because see inside. You can see here, these are exactly the same. They're little blocks that we drag over. And you can see this is a lot of complex code. This is actually Scratch Town. It's one of my favorite little games in Scratch. And you can see here, all of this is exactly the same. But when this is clicked, so when the flag is clicked, this particular thing will hide. So this bit hides. Then it initiates something. We broadcast, initiate, broadcast, next round, and wait. Coding is literally just a set of instructions. If this, then that. Do this because of this. It's just that sequence going through. So if I go back to my tutorial, turn left, I go back to my turtle. Oh, no, I wasn't doing that. I was doing duplicate. It's the same in Scratch. You can do duplicate as well. In Scratch, it does it as a full block, which is useful. And then I click run. So basically you've done coding, you've given instructions to the turtle, but what happens, we actually have to tell it to do it. So I've built my square, but the problem is you can see it doesn't match over here. So if I do move forward and make it turn right instead of left, hopefully it'll be in the right spot. Again, I do run. Brilliant. So then I can, oh, we don't want it to turn right because we want it facing forward. If I do run, okay, you've got to make it look exactly the same. If I mark that, I do submit, and hopefully it'll tell me I'm okay. Hooray! This is an easy way for you to learn coding. I am happy to sign you up for this. You just need to let me know. It keeps track of what you've learned and where you're up to. This is coding that is done in what's called JavaScript. JavaScript is what you need for Play Canvas. Here you can actually see that you've got a code by typing in the instructions. You don't drop it, you actually have to type all this in. I've typed this in. What this is defining a variable. The variable will start at the left position where the 30-point mark. You can see here it's literally giving instructions of where to be on the screen. Then what's going to happen is the function is you're going to create a spaceship. It's going to be at the left at the top. And then you're going to let the spaceship be created. So this is actually a create command. That's an image command. You can see that it's .png. So that's actually saying pull this picture file and make it appear on the screen. So spaceship screen will appear as an image. And here is a range of different coding telling it where it needs to be. And this is actually the command to tell it to repeat. So again, I can do run and try and make it happen. I've actually got some glitches in this code, which is why it's not actually working. Now, what we're actually running off is something called Play Canvas if you're not using Scratch. The reason why I'm doing this is because it operates on your Chromebooks. So this is actually where you can do some tutorials. The link is in Classroom. This is for a simple game. You can actually go and play the game. I'll show you how it works. I'm really bad at it. Please don't, judge. All right. Basically, you've got to keep the ball in the air. Told you I was bad at it. So what you can do is find games and then play them and do the tutorials that teaches you how to do it. So you can watch them you can see how they do it, and then you can learn how to make that particular game. What you can also do is in Scratch, you can actually take people's code and use it. So if I did right click on the dirt, I can do export and I can pull that particular sprite out of this game and import it into my own game. All the coding will come with it. The issue with using other people's code and coding generally that you've taken from the internet, there's nothing wrong with it. Stock standard coders do it, and in fact there's actually websites devoted to code that you can actually reuse, is you need to understand the code. Because when you pull something and put it into your own game, if it doesn't work and you don't understand what the code is, it will not work. So yes, you can use code that pre-exists. I've got no problem with you doing that, but you must know what it is and you must know what it's doing. So in summary, coding is about if and then statements. If this is the condition that happens, then this happens on the screen. If the player presses the up button, the sprite will move. That is the fundamentals of coding. You can learn coding through Grok and using their tutorials. I'm happy for you to learn that way. You can learn by taking other people's sprites and importing it into your own game, or having a look at the back end of their games. So you can do that in Scratch. You can play the game, then see inside and see what you're doing with it. You can use online tutorials. I have no problem with that. You can go in and play the games. Sorry. You can go in and play the games that yourself and have a look at them and then see what code you want to use. So that's one way, or that's sort of some variation ways of what coding is and how you can learn and how you can teach yourself. Of course, you can always ask me. All right, hope this has been helpful.